What's going on? My name is Kevin Kenney. We're hanging out with hip hop royalty today at Billboard. You know, I was gonna say Big Boy, but I've seen you've been doing all these press stops. You got this big intro. You know, ladies love your lapel and all this stuff. Can we get a little bit of that?
Yes, Billboard is Big Boy, a.k.a. Daddy Fat Sacks, a.k.a. Sir Lucis L left foot. The L stand for lavender because the ladies like to put lip gloss on my lapel. But I'm married. Sorry.
I love that, man. It's funny you being here today, man, because like in a weird way, you're here every day. You can't see it right now, but we got you and Andre on Spin. We got you and Andre back there on the Vibe 8th anniversary. Do you remember these covers? Do you remember these shoots?
Yeah, man. I remember like it was yesterday, man, especially that one.
That one right there?
Yeah, man. That's when my hair was the longest. My hair was long like Rick James.
That looks like, you know, to me, that looks like MTV Cribs Boom Boom Room era.
Yep,
Big
it
Boy
was
right
that
there.
era, man. It was the Stankonia days, man, and I miss it, man. I almost teared up, man. I was going to try to grow it back, but my wife said no.
What's like, is there a memory that kind of pops up like predominantly when you think about that time, you know, March 2001, I think it says down there?
It was just a wild time, you know, that whole ride, you know, the Outkast ride has just been wonderful, and just being able to travel the world and see the fans and them love the music and still being here at the same status years later, doing music at a high caliber and being accepted by the people, man. It's a good feeling.
Absolutely, man. You talk about longevity. What, 12th studio album with Boomiverse?
Yeah, 12, 13 if you count the Dungeon Family album.
Wow.
Yeah, which you got to count that.
Do you still get nervous, man? Like, is there anything that, like, are nerves a thing in the past few years heading into, you know, 12 or number 13 with Boomiverse?
No, man, it's just really, to be honest with you, I got a musical addiction. People always be like, why do you do music still? I'm like, because it's jamming, and for one, it's like I have to be making music, you know, so yeah. I'm constantly recording. Even now, I'm working on the follow-up to Boomiverse, which is already pretty much completed. Boomiverse was the first of 2 sacks. I call it Boomiverse Sack 1, and I'm working on Sack 2, and it'll probably be the Daddy Fat Sacks album. And it's just crazy, man. So, you know, we just kind of stay in the groove.
I'm hearing like 40 tracks you recorded?
Yeah,
wild,
man. Got a vault full of music.
And you're also working with Fantagram a little bit, right? We saw them at Gov Ball. They said maybe something's cooking with that group.
Yeah, we definitely working on a new Big Rams album. Yeah. So probably in between Boomiverse and Sack 2, you'll get a Big Rams record. I just talked to Sarah and Josh the other day, and they, you know, they ready. And, you know, I'm ready. Yeah.
Well, you're here for good reason. We bring up Boomiverse. Came out last Friday. It's out everywhere. It's available on streaming. Also, it's really cool. It's like any physical form of music it's available on. You got the CD, of course. The vinyl looks lit. It's awesome. Little cool variant of that. And also cassettes.
Yeah.
Got this blue cassette that I think is really dope.
Yeah, man. Just to be, you know, for the collectors and for the people that really just consume music, the vinyl I designed myself, the blue marble vinyl. And there are a lot of collectors of LPs, so you know, in the sleeve it has all the lyrics because I take pride in what I say, and to have those 3 things come out along with digital, it just feels good, you know what I mean, for the real music lovers out there, because that's who we do the music for.
We appreciate it, man. Now I want to dive into this track list a little bit. Now the first song we heard off of Boomiverse maybe a couple months ago was Mike Jack, but I actually heard that may not have been the first pick. I know Sylvia Rowan liked Chocolate. Is that true?
Yeah, that's Sylvia's pick is Chocolate. That's her favorite song. And L.A. was there, and L.A. liked Mike Jack. I liked All Night, and so over the Christmas holidays, we kind of had a little debate. One second. We had a little debate, like, I want L.A., like, listen to it. What you think, man? And he was just like, you know, Mike Jack, I'm telling you, big. And I was like, okay, well, we'll go with what the big man wants. And so he ended up like, I'll give you Kill Jill. So, you know, I wanted to satisfy the streets first.
Song.
And then I was at dinner with Sylvia in London, and she was like, you know, I want that Chocolate record. And so Sylvia's like, you know, big sis to me. And I was just like, you know, I think Chocolate's going to be the next video we're going to shoot. And it's doing real good.
I want to talk about Mike Jack because just one of my favorite things about this album, we were talking before we went live here in the interview, was just the production is so crazy. And the production on Mike Jack specifically is really cool, where you layer the vocals between Adam Levine and Scar and Sleepy Brown.
Yeah.
Is that a technique that you've used previously in songs, or is it something you did for the first time here?
Yeah, like the music, like we really take pride in not only the production, but also the vocal producing. And that's something I learned from listening to Parliament Funkadelic and things like that, a lot of the funk songs. So it was cool to kind of have those 3 voices, Sleepy Brown, Scar, and Adam Levine, all in the one. You got the smooth, the soulful, and the crispy, all making one strong funk throat, and the song turned out really good, man.
And the video, too. I want to talk about the video really quick. It's been out for a minute now. It's got like 1 million views on YouTube already. Whose idea was it putting Adam Levine behind the dry cleaner store?
That was my idea. Originally, it was supposed to be Dave Chappelle, But Dave was, Dave. I was trying to get Dave to direct the video, but he was kind of busy, and I sent him Kill Jill way before it came out. He was like, man, we got to work together. And it's like, okay. But he was kind of moving and grooving, so I hooked up with the Motion family, and I was like, well, who better to do it than Adam if I couldn't get Dave to do it. So it turned out really good, and from that, the chemistry, we just did that off the cuff. I think we might try to do a movie together. Man, we might try to do a movie together. We had the whole campaign with all the buddy movie posters, like from Bad Boy to Miami Vice, and people thought we had a film coming. And then when we actually got in front of each other, it was a natural chemistry. So put that in the Boomiverse and see if it come back to me.
There you go. Positive vibes out there. Now the record kicks off with a song called The Next Day.
Yeah.
And the last line of that song is that true fusion only happens at the heart of a star.
Exactly.
Now, the word fusion, I feel like is synonymous with your career, just the blending of sounds and acts, Adam Levine on a song, and just, the Fantagram Big Grams project. Yeah. You fused together, if you could say, a bunch of really cool producers that on this record. You got Scott Storch on the record, Manny Fresh is on the record, Organized Noise is on the record, Dr. Luke is on the record. Yeah. What did each of those ingredients bring to Boomiverse specifically?
I think everybody has a certain level of funk to it. I work well with others, and when I hook up with producers like in the studio, I ask them, because a lot of guys come in and they're like, okay, we're gonna play the Outkast sound of music, or I'm like, don't play me what you think I like. Let me hear everything you got and let me pick it. And so I end up picking songs. They be like, nobody ever picked that. I had this song for years. Nobody ever picked that. It's like, yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, the diamonds in the rough. Man.
Yeah, man. So it comes out great. Like Scott Storch came in, and we did about 4 or 5 records, and he, gave me Shutterbug. That was one time that it worked where he says, I got a song with your name written all over it. And he just played it at the loudest volumes I ever heard a song played, and that's how I got Shutterbug. So this time we came in there, and he just was tinkering and going through things, and we came up with Order Operation.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I want to move down this track list a little bit. Another co-star on the project is Eric Bellinger. He sings the hook on Overthunk.
Yep.
I know you're a big fan of his songwriting. Can you kind of put the viewers that may not be familiar with Eric onto him?
Yeah, Eric Bellinger is a young guy, talented writer, singer / rapper from L.A., and he is, like in the same way that I would hold up a Killer Mike or Janelle Monáe, I would say he is the next guy. He's like the unsung hero. We sat in the studio and we cooked up so many records. Like on SAC 2, we got so much good stuff, but that's also him on Order Operations as well.
Oh, really?
He came in, it was me, him, and Scott Storch, and the chemistry between the three of us brought that song about. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So look out for Eric Bellinger because he's dangerous.
You talk about Killer Mike. He's on the record 3 times now. You signed Killer Mike back in the day, right?
Yeah.
You discovered him?
Signed Killer Mike, signed Janelle Monáe. Yeah, 2 of my most proudest accomplishments in music.
It's crazy.
Was, seeing that talent. And Killer Mike actually brought me the Kill Jill record. You know what I mean? That was a good way to pay Big Brother back.
Yeah.
He came and banged on the studio door one night with the song. It was like, bruh, I got the song for you. You got to hear it. I was like, okay, cool. And when he pushed play, he said, you can't play it until you promise me that I'm going to be on it with you. And I was like, of course. And then I heard it, and it was so haunting, man. It was just, it was the Hatsune Miku, it was the Vocaloid sample, and just a plain beat. And it was like, okay, I get it. And he did his part to make sure he was solidified. That's why he's first. He was like, I'm going to make sure I get on first. And he murdered it, man. So, yeah, me and Killer Mike got a vault full of music.
You clearly have an ear, man. You probably could have been an A&R in another life, right? Who excites you these days?
Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. Run the Jewels, man, to see what they started from with LP and his career and Killer Mike, and see them come together and to go to one of their concerts and see these young kids going crazy, slam dancing, and them boys just delivering high-powered, potent lyricism to the world. Like, it's great. Like, they're in Europe right now, and I'm just proud of him as a whole as Killer Mike. Yeah.
Right on, man. Now, speaking of new artists, Atlanta, it was crazy. I think earlier this year, like half the Billboard Hot 100 top 10 was from Atlanta. It's really a time right now. Not that Atlanta ever went away,
right.
But it's really a time in Atlanta, hip hop especially. I was wondering if I could run some new names by you, give some thoughts on these new Atlanta artists that are popping up.
Okay.
What do you think of like the Migos right now?
Nice.
Yeah.
Like Migos. Melodic, flavor, real punchy punchlines, and they also credit Outkast as one of their influences, which is good when they pay homage, and I like it. I like the Migos.
Right
Migos dope, man. I seen from where they started to where they're going, and the elevation and the levels. That's one thing about younger artists with me is I don't judge from the first time I hear them, I like to see them go from level 1 to level 2 and see who's going to evolve and kind of hone in on their craft and turn into a Jedi.
Yeah, definitely, man. You ever listen to like Lil Yachty? He's somebody out of Atlanta right now that I think gets a little bit of mixed reactions depending on who you're talking to. What do you make of Lil Yachty?
Didn't listen to a lot of Lil Yachty, but I knew his dad.
Yeah.
His dad used to be a photographer in Atlanta and took a lot of pictures from Dungeon Family. So as far as, what he's doing in his movement, the kids love him. You know what I mean? So, hey, that's what it is.
Another Atlanta cat that just made the XXL freshman issues, Cap G. You ever listen to Cap G?
Cap G that's our boy.
Yeah.
That's family.
Yeah.
Cap G is College Park. Shout out to my boy Kevan Prather. He's signed under him over there with Pharrell and them, and he's definitely an extension of the Dungeon family. And Cap G's got a promising future.
You bring up the Dungeon family. You're getting all this crazy love on social media. I've never seen like a music community come around a record like they're doing with you. DJ Khaled is on social media, Twitter, Instagram, giving you big ups. Speaking of Dungeon family, CeeLo Green was giving you a shout out.
Yeah, man.
Can you, for those that don't know about the Dungeon family, can you kind of take us back to Rico Wade's place in the Dungeon and what it was like, just the vibe back then? Yeah,
the Dungeon was basically a small house in Atlanta near Lakewood, where the Lakewood Amphitheater is now, which is now like Screen Gems. And it was a small house where Rico Wade lived with his mother and 2 sisters. And he brought all of us in, Outkast, Goody Mob, Big Rube, Cool Breeze, Witch Doctor. We all stayed in one little house. And the Dungeon was an unfinished basement. To this day, it's nothing but dirt and red clay because it was like underneath the house. So there was like equipment down there and keyboards and like wooden steps. And we used to create music down there, man. And it was like the Professor Xavier's school for gifted youth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we came, when we say we got it out the dirt, we really came from the dirt to where we are now, man. And there's a certain brotherhood and camaraderie between all of us that's going to be here forever.
It's crazy, man. When you think back, all the people that came through there. Speaking of the Dungeon, Future.
Yep.
He's, I guess, a cousin of Rico Wade?
Yeah, he's Rico Wade's first cousin.
Now, did you ever have interactions with Future back in the day? Because I remember reading, actually, in his Billboard cover story, he used to go by the moniker Meathead when he was in high school, and he'd be hanging out in the Dungeon. Did you ever see him before he really blew up?
Well, there was 2 dungeons. It was It was the first dungeon, then it was the Dungeon Mansion.
Oh yeah.
Well, after we sold the millions of records, then there was another dungeon, the Plush Dungeon.
Yeah.
So he came out of that dungeon, and me and Dre actually were on tour, and Goody Mob was on tour. But we would come back periodically and see them boys working on music down there. A lot of the young guys from Black Home C-Bone to Lil Brother James and Super Nate and G-Rock and Future, took the craft seriously, man, and honed in on his skills and became to what he is today. But definitely came out the Dungeon, yeah.
Right on, man.
Dungeon strong to this day.
It's crazy. And then the documentary is available now on Netflix, right?
Yes.
And you're a part of that.
Yeah. The Dungeon Family documentary is on there, The Art of Organized Noise. They actually put an album out too a couple of weeks ago, which is jamming. I'm on a song with CeeLo Green and Big Rube and Sleepy Brown called We the Ones Who Fight. Very powerful video out online right now. And just to be one cohesive unit still doing music, man, I feel like I'm on cloud 9 and, we just out here repping Boomiverse right now.
Absolutely. Getting back to Boomiverse really quick, man.
Yeah.
Somebody you got on this record is the late Pimp C.
Yeah.
Now, Corey Moe produced that track?
Corey Moe and TM88.
Okay.
It was a little joint thing they did
Now,
together.
Corey Moe's got history with UGK. I was wondering, is that something that you wanted on the record so you went to Corey with, or was that an opportunity he brought to you?
No, Corey Moe is like frequent Stankonia Studios, and he heard me working on an album, and he was like, bruh, I got this song. I know Pimp was like one of your main guys, and I got some Pimp C material. And if you put your words on here with it, it's going to go crazy. And I was just like, since International Players Anthem, Pimp C was like, that's family. So when he played me in the South, it just reminded me of some UGK super type, with some of their earliest albums. And I was just like, I got to have it. Yeah. So then you got Gucci on there, and it's, so you got 3 Southern heavyweights on one song, with 3 different styles that brings in the South together, and it gives you a real, true feeling of what Southern hip hop sounds like.
Was that important to have a song like that, to just rep the South like that on Boomiverse?
It just was, it happened. All my collaborations, I like to say, are organically created, never genetically modified. There's never an A&R saying, put this guy on here, put that guy on. It's like I make all my decisions, and a lot of things just happen by chance. Yeah.
speaking of Overthunk with Eric Ballinger
Yeah.
On the album, there's a line in the hook where it says, "Who know better than me?"
Right.
You've been in this game now, 25 years almost, or around 25 years, maybe even more. Is that kind of the?
No, not more.
Not more. Yeah,
not more.
Less, right?
Yeah,
Let's keep it less.
No, that's a good thing though. 25 years, I think it'll be 2019, and then we'll be eligible for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
There you go.
The Super Bowl.
Talk about putting something into the Boomiverse.
You know what I mean?
Let's put that into the Boomiverse.
That in the Boomiverse. The Super Bowl gonna be in Atlanta. Shit might line up. You know what I mean?
I bring up that line that who know better than me. Is that sort of how you feel about your position right now in the world of music? Is have you seen it all? Is there anything you still want to achieve that you haven't maybe achieved, other than maybe the Hall of Fame?
I just want to keep that musical hunger that I have to make music. Yeah. I got Stankonia Studios, and music is what makes me tick. Whether it's me developing a new artist like Malk Up Next, my new artist out of Cleveland, 17-year-old singer, or working with Killer Mike, or doing another Big Rams album. I just want my life to stay exciting, man. I love music, and I really love when I put albums like Boomiverse out and the people go crazy like they are, and they loving it. You know what I mean? Top to bottom. I'm grateful.
You talk about these things like the Big Grams project and just keeping things fresh and looking forward. What can fans look forward to at the back half of 2017 with you?
Back half of 2017, we're going to be on the road. If you keep visiting bigboy.com, it'll let you know where I'm going to be. We're in the pre-production stages of the Big Grams album. I'm finishing Sack 2, the next album to follow up to Boomiverse. Organized Noise is working on another full album, which will feature myself as well. I have Camp Purple Records with Mr. DJ that used to be in Earth Tone 3 with me and Dre. We have our own label. We got Malcolm coming. And we're just gonna keep pushing it forward, man. Like, just keep rocking people. They love it.
Yeah, we sure do.
As long as I'm young, back, my knees stay healthy, I'm gonna be out here.
That's the key, right? Thank you so much for stopping by, man. Again,
Thank you.
Boomiverse available everywhere: CD, cassette, vinyl, streaming. Go out and get it, right?
But dude, he said cassette, boy. Yes, sir.
They got blue cassettes.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, man.
Alrighty.